Do you want to use content to attract visitors to your website or to otherwise create sales from the communications you have with your buyers? I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and I'm putting together a content marketing manifesto. I want to start out first with being very transparent that I don't believe content marketing is a valid thing. Now, let me explain. Search engines will tell you need to write content a certain way. They'll focus you on SEO, which is how the content pages use certain keywords. It becomes a real distraction. Before content marketing, there was article marketing where they expressed writing as many articles as possible and submitting them to different directories or sending them to different publications. These types of things are a distraction from the core benefit of the communications itself. Now, here's what's important. There's a difference between writing an article and posting it somewhere and having an article read. And then finally, the communications where we use what's called chains of communications, where you've sent an article out, the end user reads it, and then they reply back. This is really the foundation of direct response marketing, where we're going to have a challenge and response dialogue with our potential buyers, and we're actually helping them solve small problems in a way that creates a behavioral modification. This is very important. Content marketing isn't about behavioral change. It's about responding to behaviors, if they go that far. But what I feel is being missed by a lot of marketers, a lot of copywriters, a lot of businesses who use words to sell is that connection with the buyer. Now, here's what's important. I said content marketing manifesto because a lot of folks don't want to hear about relationship marketing or demand generation or direct response. Even database marketing, those almost seem like sinful, old school, that doesn't work. It's like classified ads and space advertisings in newspapers. Nobody reads the newspaper. They want to talk about social media marketing because that's exciting, but really, social media is not much different than a classified ad. It's a bunch of little tiny text ads on a page to an audience that's disinterested, an audience that's not looking for something particular, an audience that's looking for entertainment. What makes content marketing profitable is not the value it delivers to the company itself. So search engine optimization, search engine marketing, writing content for your blog, publishing a podcast, all of those things are easy for people to understand because they see them everywhere. But of those people publishing these things, very few of them are making any money. And the reason they're not making money is because the money is in the platform. So when you publish on Facebook, you're creating content for Facebook to sell advertising. And yes, there will be times where that content connects with the right people and you get a bunch of followers and you get a bunch of likes. But you have to ask the question, did you get any customers that you can directly attribute to that Facebook advertising? Now, you can on the advertising side, by the way, and you can put cookies in place and you can pattern interrupt and you can get past the organic, publish and pray. But again, that's why I want to write this manifesto out, and I'm working on it, and I'm going to share a few little elements from that manifesto because we're missing the part where if we direct the viewer to take specific action, we get specific results. If we spray and pray, we're very often left wondering, and that wondering leads us to the next shiny object, the fancy tool, the AI content generator, all these other products. It's its own auxiliary market. So the way I look at the world is a little bit different. And so I try to look at the relationship of cause and effect, activity and result. If you write more content for your website, can you be assured that you're going to generate more sales? Well, you have to write content a certain way in order to generate more sales. In order to have that content do the conversion activity, you need to have somebody view the content. And again, it's not organic traffic. You very often can send a postcard campaign, you can rent a mailing list, you can buy advertising space, and you can direct the focus of your prospect down to your content. But how does that content work? So let's start talking about the manifesto. I'm going to proclaim content must speak to the emotional desires of the buyer. It doesn't matter how good your ad is. If it doesn't connect emotionally with somebody, they're not going to take the spontaneous action of clicking a link and going to your site. More importantly, they're not going to sit down and read your content unless it addresses the reason someone is searching. So there is that little bit of truth in the keywords. But what are the real reasons they're searching is why they're going to click on the link and actually stay on your site to read the content. Your information must fulfill the request. It must move the reader forward. It must drive them towards a designated outcome. Now, who designates the outcome? Well, of course, the reader does. The reader is looking to solve a problem in the marketplace, and they're going to go look for answers to help them make better decisions. They find your connective, which is the emotional side, that brings them into your fold so that you can make an interaction. However, when they land on that page must generate a lead or make a sale. Okay, Jeff Paul talked about this back in the 90s, early 2000s. What's the purpose of a page? I look at it from the direct response standpoint. You wouldn't mail a letter to your prospects that didn't do something. It's either going to generate a lead or it's going to make a sale. Now, it could also position yourself as an expert. It could provide an answer to a common question. It could help the reader be a little more confident about that they're in the right place. But ultimately, you have to ask them to do something. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to respond, but you have to ask them to do something. That's how you build the conversation. It's, hey, isn't the weather nice today? How have you been? You're kind of looking for a response on that interaction, that face-to-face interaction. If we look at our content as salesmanship in print, and it's an interaction or an engagement with a representative of our organization, then you wouldn't send out salespeople to knock on doors and just have appointments. There has to be a purpose for the appointment. There's the purpose that the prospect has for even talking to you, and then there's the purpose that you have for being available. So the conversion of a page could be as small as a little commitment. Check this, fill out this quick survey. Click this link to get a free report. It could be, download this information or subscribe to a newsletter. Each commitment reinforces the value of what you offer. More importantly, though, online helps narrow the scope of the locations they get information from. It drills down into your media rather than kind of renting other people's media. So when you do organic content, you're actually the product. You're providing content for these platforms to monetize with their advertising. When you're buying advertising, you're renting access to an audience. When you have your own mailing list, this could be your prospect newsletter. This could be your house list of previous buyers. This could be people who requested specific information. When you own your own media, you are now able to go back to that pool and start the dialogue, to do the surveys, to build the connections, to demonstrate your value, to get people on the phone and have conversations, and to really understand your audience. What's important in this understanding of the audience is that you will always write for a specific customer or avatar. So you have a customer avatar, you have a buying persona. You're going to write for this specific person. So you have one piece of content, one specific audience. Now, let's say your products and services serve many different types of customers. That's okay. You can create content for each audience that also is pretty much the same framework. So in my case, I do strategic business development. If I'm doing strategic business development for commercial electrical contractors, I can speak to them specifically. If I'm doing strategic business development for publishers and content developers, I can speak to them specifically. You can have multiple buyer segments or channels within the larger picture of your marketing. And this is important, again, because the prospect must see themselves in the content, have that emotional connection, build that bit of trust before they're going to take an action. And so that's critically important. Now, you might be asking, where do we get ideas for content? Because what I just said is that you can take a key idea or topic, you can then rewrite that same theme for different audiences, for different use cases, for different political activities going on, for different news headlines. It's the same content in new packaging. Okay, now you have to make it sound interesting. You have to have the emotional connection. You have to have the relevance. You have to have the call to action that's meaningful to the individual. You have to put them on a list segment. You have to follow up with that list segment. This is a little more complex than the content marketing people promise. In fact, the content marketing people say, if you build it, they will come. What I'm saying is if you really understand your buyers, you can share the relevant information that they need in order for them to make a buying decision. Big difference here. One pays other people. One, you're a freelance copywriter or marketer for Google, where you're creating content for free. You're paying for special tools. You're paying for special platforms. You're paying for AI, and you're just basically feeding their advertising revenue, versus you're actually building a business. You're building your own media. You're getting a house list together. You're understanding that list. You're doing conversions. Where do you get these ideas from? Well, I just poo-pooed all over keywords. Two-word, one-word keywords are completely useless. But there are insights in the long-tail keywords that help you understand the general relevance of ideas and concepts for your audience. So the biggest problem with keywords is that a lot of folks choose the popular keywords. Okay, they choose keywords with a lot of search activity, but they don't ask who is searching for that keyword. So it is possible to go in there and get a popular long-tail keyword. A long-tail keyword is going to have 5 to 6 words in it, or maybe 7 words. It's usually going to form a question. It's going to be a complete statement. It's going to be something that not that many people are looking for, but telegraphs a behavioral need or a buying desire, and you can create content around that. Now, again, we're going to take that long tail keyword. We're going to write it for a specific audience or avatar, customer. We're going to build in the emotional triggers. We're going to write in the proof. We're going to write all the concepts that are there to set up an offer. Then we're going to have on the back end our offer. But those long tail keywords can help you narrow your scope of topic and increase the potential relevance. Now, again, they may not be popular keywords. I might look for the root keyword, business development, and then I'm looking down the list and I see somebody say, what is business development? Okay, so that's a useful concept. People are looking for what is a definition. Now I can go on my website for ad briefings, copywriting tips, which is for copywriters, and I can say, what's the concept of business development as it pertains to copywriters? I can go on Inside Strategic Relations, and I can say, what can we learn from business development to build stronger business relationships or increase profits? I can go to my individual channels, and I can take that core concept and that core long tail keyword that has some traffic. It's not going to have a lot, but that definition of the word business development, what is, and ultimately build out 4, 5, 6 pieces of content, each going, now that you understand what business development is, here's the next step to take to improve the sales and profits in your organization. And just if you're wondering, business development is about cultivating sales, administrative overhead, kind of your back office, and your targeting so that you are a profitable organization. We're developing the profits of the organization through a multifaceted approach. We're not just doing better copy. We're not just writing articles. We're building a business with a marketing plan that we can execute, that we can measure, that we can understand what works and what doesn't. And perhaps this is what gives me a different view of content marketing, because our primary objective is to grow the bottom line profits for stakeholders. You can't pay your employees more if you're not making more money. If your customers are not satisfied with your products and services, you can't produce a premium price. If your marketplace doesn't want what you have or desire, you cannot create a profit. Now, there are concepts in content marketing that they want to influence people. So we talk about being a creator or an influencer. That is, again, working for free, working for the big tech company, and creating content for them to sell advertising, if you're going to convert prospects into buyers, you need to have structure and context that matters. So what do we mean by that? We mean we have to be writing for decision makers who have money to spend, who can make decisions on your product or service, who are looking for solutions, who have the problems where they should be looking for solutions. So somebody who has got an anemic business, who's not creating enough profits, who's got administrative overhead problems, who's got risks associated with the way they conduct business, they don't know that that's impacting their bottom line profits. They just think they have a high overhead. So you might create content that helps them define the problem and start the root cause analysis so that it reveals to them that this next step is business development. This next step, and in this particular case, these are just the elements I have so far on the manifesto. The reason I would write a content marketing manifesto is because content marketing is going to get attention, and then I'm going to bust the myth of content marketing, and then I'm going to go through the thou shall nots of content marketing so people can understand that they really don't need to be. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of these expensive tools, I use them in-house. But if you use them the way you're being prescribed to use them, then you need them for years. I focus on, again, conversion rate. I focus on contextual relevance to a buying audience. I focus on, are we speaking to real humans? We don't need to speak to search engines. Again, if you're writing for the search engine, are they paying you any money to write for the search engine? No. We focus on content that converts. So it's going to be, could we pay advertising dollars and send target prospects to this page and get a lead or get a sale? So it is simplified in the fact that all we really care about is, are we building our list with qualified buyers, and are we actually having buying transactions to qualify individuals? There's it's a pair that has cross checks. So the lead is one side, its measure is conversion rate, but our quality measure, the parenting measure, is determined by the sale, which is the next transaction, and then the value and quality of that sale determines whether the leads are good value or not. So if we have leads that come in at a cost per lead of $50, but their customer lifetime value is $1,000, we can compare those to leads that come in at $25, but their customer lifetime value is only $10. And so we have this matrix set up. And if you want to go over the measures that we use on the back end, because unfortunately, a lot of mid-sized businesses are confused when I say, give me a consolidated P&L so that we can get some base metrics, and now give me a P&L associated with the campaign you just ran, your very best campaigns. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Well, that's because, again, they're too focused on the external tools, the shiny objects, what Google and Yahoo and Facebook are recommending, which, by the way, if they're recommending it, are they recommending it because it's making you money or because it's making them money? See, when I help my clients transform business relationships into profits, we have a profit measure and then a relationship measure. If we're able to get someone to the website and they become a lead and they become a customer, we can look at how fast we're able to do that. And we can see, are we getting people on their first or second visit, or is it taking 9 or 10 visits? Are we getting people to come back to the website by using a prospect newsletter or some kind of other audience retargeting? Are we able to get a customer who pays, stays, and refers? And then on the bottom line, are we making any profits as a business? I'll drill down even more. Are we making any profits with this line of product? I'll drill down even more. Are we making any profits with this line of product and this particular customer segment? And then you can see what works and what doesn't. So you don't have to create a lot of content. You don't have to bow down to these big technology companies. You can get more from your advertising dollars because you're getting the money back. Too many people fall for the siren song of content marketing because they're cheap. They think, oh, I'm just going to post some articles on the website. I'm going to make Google happy, and then Google's going to send me a bunch of visitors because these keywords are popular. Well, no, it doesn't work that way because, again, they don't tell you the keyword popularity for your particular target customers, and then you end up getting low quality leads. You end up getting a lot of visitors to your website but no conversion. You end up getting a lot of mental masturbation rather than actual leads and sales to your website. If you get a website and it's got a 2% conversion rate and you decide to increase the traffic, there's a reason why the conversion rate goes down, because that increase of traffic doesn't necessarily represent buyers in the marketplace. But when you take the approach that I'm advocating here, you're going to know something about your conversion rates, you're going to know something about your buyers, and now you can say, okay, well, I'm advertising on this platform with this specific audience target. I'm going to go to this different platform and target the same audience with my control ads, and then I'm going to send them to the same webpage, and then I'll compare the two. I'll do an A/B split between the target traffic sources. So today, you can compare the conversion value of your organic traffic against your paid traffic, and then you can go on the back end and look at these metrics that we talk about, and you can see that the content isn't doing anything without the audience. And so again, we go back into the emotional desires of the buyer. We go back into tools that help them make decisions. We go back into getting them on our media so that we can talk to them without our competitors seeing them. We talk about ideas that generate sales versus ideas that are just popular. We can take popular ideas, by the way, and do the switch. That's why I explained to you here that this manifesto I'm working on is about content marketing, but it's not about content marketing. It's about making sales and producing profits in a business. We can write the same content for different audiences and different media, all coming back to our organization in a way that's coded so that we know that when we talk to homeowners with this certain income level, we had a different result than we talked with renters at the same income level. It's about being able to make decisions. Okay, this is not pleasantly desired by people, because I know a lot of you folks are saying, well, damn, Justin, you're making a lot of work. I don't have to write one article, I write 5 articles. You said I'd write fewer articles. Well, again, you're writing one article for 4 or 5 audiences. I mentioned matrices. Well, that doesn't have to be that difficult. It can just be quadrilateral, meaning 2 rows and 2 columns, and then we're going to build a test case, and then we're going to create content around a campaign instead of just throwing new stuff on your website and then feeding the search engines, feeding the social media platforms, and wasting a lot of time, money, and effort. We're going to have smarter tests that go out on social media to determine which headlines and concepts. So just think about it this way. You have a list of long tail keywords. You write 10, 15 social media posts, which is not as much effort as writing one article. You put those out on your website pointing to relevant content that you already know converts. And then you see which of those social media posts across platforms had the biggest take-up, meaning that you had click-throughs. Now you take that topic idea and you write an article. So you went from 4 or 5 long tail keywords to 1 or 2 long tail keywords to test end results. So again, maybe you can see how difficult why I'm having difficulty writing this content marketing manifesto, and it's because while I know how to create articles, I know how to create content, I've got this stuff for a long period of time, and I've been able to demonstrate the results in it. I just don't think people are getting it. Now there is 1 or 2% of folks that get it, and that's why they're making all the money. But are you getting it? Are you understanding that a search engine that tells you to write more content and gives you tools to write more content doesn't necessarily have your best interest in mind? And if you had 1 or 2 really good sales letters that converted, or 1 or 2 lead generation pieces that convert it, that you could find an unlimited number of platforms where someone else is writing content, where someone else is chasing the shiny object, and just basically ask a buyer to come to your website. Ask somebody to come and get more information about a problem they're having. Have a guide or a tool to help them move towards a purchase decision. So if you're in the business of actual monetary transactions and serving customers, then this, what I've described here today, should get you concerned about the fancy images and the social media chasing and the trying to go viral and popular keywords, and have you focus more on the sales funnel itself and the activity of creating and keeping more profitable customers. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, where we help you communicate better with words, especially words that sell. And we have a number of resources there, including a paid newsletter or paid membership and a free newsletter. And so I hope you'd go over there to ask your questions at www.adbriefings.co.uk. So this has been kind of getting the draft together on my content marketing manifesto that's really about helping you create and keep profitable customers. I want to thank you for listening and being a part of this podcast. And I'll see you next time. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips.